There was a post you posted recently about a study that was testing a new algorithm to see whether or not red meat, was associated with any of the negative health outcomes that it's been long thought
Mhm.
to be associated with, right? And this study, although I guess in the introduction, in the abstract, it wasn't the intent of the study was not to come to conclusive answers about the health effects of red meat. Nonetheless, it did, and
Mhm.
but you teased out, I think, the more relevant and practical take home from the study. And I think there was some controversy around that post, right, regarding whether or not red meat is the dietary boogeyman that it's often made out to be. You want to share a little
Yeah,
bit about that?
yeah. Any of my posts about red meat are always become very controversial. In fairness, it was a pretty weak study. I think almost all epidemiological studies are quite weak, and the study was not designed to actually test that effect. But they used a new method that is statistically very sound, and they found that the method is valid. So that means that the actual analysis that they're doing is also valid. Now, I also related it back to actual randomized controlled trials, which are far more important and far better, and other systematic data. Like they pulled a lot of their data from a systematic review. So the conclusions of that systematic review are a lot more important for our knowledge and for scientific research than the new analysis. So some of that criticism was definitely deserved. Should have highlighted the limitations more of that study. But I think the conclusions are perfectly sound, and they align with a lot of the other research that we have, that red meat is not healthy, but it's also not unhealthy. And a lot of people cannot grasp that. Same with eggs, for example. So eggs and meat are super nutritious, great protein sources, great for fat loss. They're relatively lean, especially if you have the lean meats. So excellent protein source, full of nutrients, iron, zinc, full of micros. But if you consume more red meat in a study, you typically do not see that someone's HDL goes up, their blood pressure goes down, like their blood sugar, or the blood sugar goes down, blood pressure goes down. If you do that with, say, avocado or vegetables, you do see that, or with olives, right? You make somebody consume more avocado or more olives, you can actually see acutely that their biomarkers improve. And we also have the epidemiological research correlating those intakes with long-term health improvements and longer lifespan, better longevity, lower all-cause mortality. So there we have very strong evidence, like olives, avocado, vegetables. Those are very healthy foods. Nuts also pretty good track record. With meat, it's more neutral. So meat's not unhealthy. It's not like typical mainstream media would have you believe if you consume meat, it's going to clog up your arteries, you're going to die next week. But meat's also not itself going to make you healthier. So meat is more something that you consume for the nutrients, and then you need other foods like added veggies to make it healthy. So I would classify meat in terms of health effects mostly as neutral, which typically is a conclusion that if you do that in fitness, you piss everybody off because you have the keto, the carnivores and everything. And they're like, oh, he said it's not healthy. And then you have the vegans and he's like, he said it's not unhealthy. So, and I think it's more a middle of the road approach where we have basically, there are a lot of proponents of meat and there are a lot of people that are vehemently against meat. And I think the truth is simply kind of in the middle for that. And there's a big difference between nutritional value and that in itself can have health effects, right? If it helps you diet, if it helps you get your protein in, if it's satiating, if it helps you lose fat, then the fat loss will make you healthier. But if you just tell people like eat more meat no matter what, and you're going to be healthier, that's probably not going to happen.
But isn't lean red meat? I mean, just to push back a little bit, and I do think that this is the right approach. That that the truth is always somewhere in between the polar extremes. But red meat is, and we'll even take lean red meat as an example for the sake of
Mm-hmm.
the argument. It's so satiating because it's so high in protein that it's almost as difficult to overeat, I would say, as whole fruit, in that it's
Absolutely.
self-limiting, right? Whole fruit is loaded with fiber and water, and avocados, you know, there is you avocados are very calorie dense. You could hypothetically eat enough avocados to become obese, were that your
Mm-hmm.
prerogative. I don't think anybody out there is obese due to their avocado consumption, but like hypothetically you could, which would then cause dysregulation to all of the biomarkers that you referenced.
Yes. So that's even more the case with nuts or olive oil, for example, where we have very solid evidence that those are very healthy. They have a lot of compounds, phytochemicals, good fatty acids that are health improving. They improve health biomarkers, reduce inflammation. meat doesn't have those types of compounds, but it is, in practical sense, a very good food, almost tempted to say healthy, because it will help with fat loss and it will help you have a good diet. And if you avoid meat completely, like vegans, then you often run into problems with B vitamins, iron, zinc. So I think meat can absolutely, and probably should be for most people, be a part of an optimized healthy diet. Although you can get a lot of those nutrients from like shellfish and the like too, if you want to go that route. But yeah, like I said, the compounds in itself, we have to differentiate that from its fat loss effects or muscle growth effects, right? Those are different factors. So health is just health and fat loss. Fat loss will make you healthier, but they are separate considerations. Something can make you healthy just inherently because of the compounds it has, or something can indirectly, potentially make you healthier because it helps you lose fat and it helps you have a satiating and nutritious diet.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I would say that generally a food like peanuts are healthy. They're legumes, right? But if you feed 100 people peanuts, one of those people statistically is going to die. But that doesn't make it not a healthy food, I mean, everybody's different, and you have to take we do have to take a more nuanced approach.
Hey, if you liked that video, you need to check out this one here, and I'll see you there.